Ladies and gents, tonight we are live to help you with your Sunday scaries. Hopefully, if you are feeling any anxiety at all about this upcoming week, we are here to help entertain with some information about galaxies. We did start a chapter on galaxies and other galaxies earlier today. We talked about elliptical and spiral galaxies. Of course, we talked about our own galaxy earlier in some previous lives. And hello, Sundar. Hello, my love. And we are ready to continue with these other types of galaxies now while I show my face. So, hello indeed. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, I think, to North America, South America, good very much night and early morning to Europe, good morning to Asia, I think good morning to Africa, I think maybe good afternoon to Australia, New Zealand, and right now I do believe it's 24/7 sunlight in Antarctica. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Thank you for being here. Kanaga Sundar. Hello, my friend. Crazy Sick Wine. Hello. There's my friend. Hello. It's an acceptable looking face. Hello, boss. Hello, Grimmy. How is everyone? How is How is everybody? Looking like a young, beautiful star. Thank you so much. I think Sundar is reminding us that our own sun is a very young, beautiful star indeed. 4.6 billion years only. And I love when you laugh unexpectedly. Well, some people actually suffer it, if you will. I see the Gooners are out already. More free physics education. Kimmy! Hello! You will all get the Are you saying I will get the internet girl of my dreams? Salam, how are you? Thanks to Milo. What? Thanks to you what? What do you mean? What do you mean, Sundar? These people who are joining right now, these are the regulars, and they're always crazy. So some of them are new, though. Yeah, text Dora. Some of these people who are joining right now, they are the ultimate gooners, and they're friends with each other to make you laugh. Oh, yes, please, to make me laugh. Okay, so earlier today I was mentioning about elliptical galaxies and spiral galaxies. He's saying we could only hope, Grimace. We could only hope. Who's saying that? Who's saying what about hoping? So now for Hi Dora. Hi Dora. Yes, I'm a little late. Thank you so much. Can you please like the live? Everybody like the live right now before you forget. Like the live, please. Milky Way is a spiral galaxy. Yes. Milky Way is spiral. Look, Sundar is actually listening. Learn from Sundar, you guys. I actually know Sundar in real life. So, Doro and Grimmy, if you thought you're the only real life friends, I have a real life friend here now. Me, have a real life friend, and it's Kanaga Sundar. Hi, the Pickle Wizard. Yo, can I get a shout out? I subbed and liked. Thank you so much, the Pickle Wizard. Please do like, subscribe, all of the things. Doro, it's okay. Spiral. Yeah, so Milky Way is a spiral galaxy. It is around 100,000 light years across, which is around 30 kiloparsecs. We orbit the sun, which is orbiting the galactic center at an orbital radius of around 8 kiloparsecs, if that makes sense. It has around 200 billion stars, but its luminosity is around only 23 billion solar luminosity. So it might seem like there are only 23 billion stars if you expect all the stars to be like our sun, but many of the stars are actually dimmer and belong to a different population. So there are both a variety of Fuji is currently shaking his food container dispenser. Hello, Doro. Doro says Milky Way is the best galaxy. What are megaparsecs, parsec? So parsec is a unit of distance in astronomy that we use. I'll give you some more information soon here about that. It's our own and the only one I care about. Hi, Robbie. Fuji. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. They got snacks very recently, so they're being a little needy right now because I'm paying attention to you guys. Fuji especially is my only child who needs he's hearing me say his name and his ears are perking up. Oh my god. I'm sorry, Fuji. Mama loves you. You're the best. Ram Candy, how are you? Fall with you. Okay. There are thousands and thousands of more distance than miles. Yeah, so we can talk about the units really quickly, Kimmy. But basically, that was why I said, so there are different units you can use to measure distance in astronomy. Because the distances sometimes are so large, you might want to use different ones based on what makes sense. So, for example, the astronomical unit is the distance between us and the sun. Sometimes when we consider distances within our solar system, we use astronomical units. So we might say, well, we are at 1 astronomical unit distance from the sun, but Jupiter is at 5.2 astronomical units from the sun, for example. So Jupiter is like over 5 times the distance away from the sun, and that greatly affected what kind of planet Jupiter is, what kinds of materials condensate at that distance, and what kinds of things happen there in the planet formation phases. Whereas, okay, another distance, for example, that you might care about is galactic within the galaxy distances. So our our distance, that is the sun, and we're orbiting the sun, that distance from the galactic center is the 8 kiloparsec number that I was saying, where if you consider the full galaxy across, that's around 30 kiloparsecs. So that tells you sort of that 8 kiloparsec distance in reference to the full galaxy size. So hopefully that kind of tells you where we are and where everything else is. And also remember, I'll give you our galaxy size in another whole unit, which is light years, and that distance is the 100,000 light years across. So the Milky Way galaxy is around 100,000 light years across. So these are just some numbers to help you with she has a very symmetrical face. Who, me? Someone else said, what? Someone else just said that to me the other day. Why are you saying that? Are you a telepath? What the frick? I don't know what is happening anymore in my life. I don't know anymore. Someone else just said that the other day. How telepathic? How? I don't even know. Whatever, man, whatever. Let me try to... What? Who are you? Who are you, boss? Who are you? I don't know anymore. So hopefully that's helping Kimmy to understand some of these distances, because really when it comes to the galaxy, it's very big. right? The distance is within the galaxy is very big. So if I told you some numbers in say miles or something, it would be such a huge number. It might not mean anything to you, or it might not mean much to you, and it might not mean a lot in terms of the relativeness. Like you might be more interested when thinking about our galaxy in knowing where are we in the galaxy, how big is the actual full galaxy, and if the galactic center, how, like, are we at the galactic center? No, we're not. Are we sort of close to it? Not really. Most of the luminosity in our galaxy, by the way, Kimmy, is awesome, great, is within 3 kiloparsecs of the galactic center. So this was part of our discussion when we talked about dark matter in our own galaxy. We actually realized that, oh my gosh, we are at an orbital distance of around 8 kiloparsecs from the galactic center. Now forget what the parsec unit is, we can define it at some point, but everything is like relative, right? So if we are at a distance of 8 kiloparsecs from the galactic center, and most of the luminosity of the galaxy in our galaxy is within like 3 kiloparsecs or so, that is well within our own orbital distance from the galactic center. So this is what led us to think that most of the mass would be and should be within that 8 kiloparsec orbital distance from the from the center. And what we found and what we estimated was that orbital speeds as you go farther and farther out from the center should be kind of tapering off or and whatnot. Things should be slowing down, but we found observationally that the orbital speeds were going up. They were either staying constant or they were going up. They were deviating from what we would consider from Kepler's third law. And that's one of the biggest evidences we have actually about this extra matter, invisible matter, dark matter, where it does not contribute to the luminosity that we measure from our galaxy, but it does contribute gravitationally and changes the gravitational obviously behavior of things. What we see orbital speed wise would suggest gravitationally there's more mass, but it does not contribute to the luminosity. So those are the types of things that we're trying to understand. And so that's why we use the unit of parsec, kiloparsec, megaparsec, and whatnot. Hopefully that makes sense, Kimmy. Kimmy asked about the units of distance, and that was my long answer for that. Yep, I see the comments. Wife took the kids. I'm not mad about that. She has a very symmetrical face, which is still blowing my mind because that is the exact comment I got from someone else recently. There are thousands and thousands of more distance than miles. I can tell you what exactly the number is. It's a very big number, and I don't have it off the top of my head, and I will let you know once I find the spot, okay? Crazy Sick Wine says, right. But yes, the other distance to keep in mind, I think you got it already, Kimmy, is the distance between the sun and the earth is given this name or unit of 1 astronomical units. And sometimes within our own solar system, we just say things in terms of that, okay? Somebody said they're married to their relative. Okay. Dora says, I'm gone for 2 minutes and see some of the most wild comments ever. Yep. Hi, Harper. Hi, Grimmy. Hi, Crazy Sick. Hi, Harper again. Hi, Kimmy. Hi, Boss. Hi, Mac tonight. Hi. We landed on the moon. Rem Candy. Robbie Roberts. Thank you so much for being here. Kanagasundar. Hello, love. Ayad Hammer, hello. Yes, so I think Sundar asked earlier whether the Milky Way is a spiral, and yes, indeed, Milky Way is a spiral. You're already drinking. I didn't edit a comment. I edited the name of the person because I can. So okay. So we were speaking earlier about the different types of galaxy classification. There are roughly, we talked about the 3 different categories of galaxies. These are elliptical galaxies, spiral galaxies, and irregular galaxies based on shape, based on morphology, morphos. Apparently that is the word for shape in Greek. So morphologically speaking, and according to Hubble, we have these galaxy classifications, okay? You know, my one eyebrow is a little different from the other. For the people who are saying symmetrical face, I don't think it's possible to be that symmetric, actually. Everybody is a little asymmetric, and that's fine. Is everybody drinking? God, you guys, what is wrong with you? Everybody's on this live drinking. If you're not drinking, raise your hand. Jesus. If you're not drinking, raise your hand right now and answer the question, what is your favorite rocky metallic planet? It can be Earth. It's fine. Okay, so I should also mention that about 100 years ago, we didn't really know much about the other galaxies in the universe. We thought that we were in a pretty good big galaxy, and pretty much that might have been... Yes. Anybody else? Your favorite planet out of the rocky metallic ones? Take a pick. Mars, Earth, Venus, Mercury. Tell me your favorite planet. It's better than whatever these comments are. I'm feeling a little annoyed today. Pouring some wine now, about to get wild. Okay. Oh, Sundar doesn't drink. I have a friend here that does not drink. I'm so proud. I mean, I actually had a honey wine earlier today. It was Ethiopian honey wine. But I had it with dinner. And with joy. Okay, so I should mention that about 100 years ago, we started to make more strides in astronomical observation. The fact that we started to see more of the night sky and zoom in more into the night sky with bigger and better telescopes, and we started to build bigger and better telescopes to be able to do these observations, really revealed to us the fact that there are other galaxies, and what we considered a nebula, Andromeda Nebula. Hello, Fuji. I can't read the comments because of the tail. Okay. All right. So because of the Andromeda Nebula, or the thing we thought was a nebula, or sorry, because of the better telescopes, Hubble actually found that something that we thought might have just been a gas cloud called Andromeda Nebula is actually the Andromeda Galaxy. And we started to discover more galaxies. And as we're discovering more galaxies, we are starting to find that we might want to maybe classify these galaxies, and even within the classifications, there might be further subclassifications and subcategories, just to keep in sort of a catalog of them organized within astronomy. So let me read you the little bit of a story about the Andromeda Galaxy. Hey, they said that my face is very symmetrical. And because that blew my mind, I said that actually my eyebrows are not, and that's fine. And you can pour one for the nostrils. Yes, my name is Nostrils sometimes. So, Edwin Hubble used the Mount Wilson 100-inch telescope to observe the Andromeda Nebula, or what they thought was a nebula. And the largest of the spiral nebulae, basically nebulae is the plural of nebula. Hubble detected Cepheid variable stars within the Andromeda Nebula and showed that it is actually the Andromeda Galaxy. So, what people thought was just a nebula, just something like kind of hanging out as a cloud or something, was actually the galaxy. And this 100-inch telescope called Mount Wilson was very much needed for that. So as astronomy started to get better and better telescopes, better and better observations, even now as better instruments are getting built all the time, it is opening up our eyes quite literally to the rest of the universe and other galaxies and things like that. And Andromeda is, of course, just a neighbor. But in astronomy, remember, even our neighbors are very far, and it can indeed take a lot of, modern and modernizing of technology to be able to see these things. So in 1929, so we're still talking about within the last 100 years, but really within that last 100 years is when we opened up to the rest of the universe in terms of finding more galaxies. This was one of the many things we kind of talked about as part of our modern physics stuff that we talked about from the 20th century. But basically, in 1929, Hubble published the result of his calculations, and he believed that the Andromeda Galaxy was at 275 kiloparsecs. Later on, it turns out that this was kind of off because certain other things didn't really match up, and there was someone else who also did some measurements. This guy's name was Walter Baade. I don't know how you say the name, Baade. And basically, certain objects that he was hoping to see in that particular nebula or galaxy, well, I guess at this point they knew it was a galaxy, was a little bit off. They didn't quite detect those things that were expected, and now actually the best current estimate of the distance to the Andromeda Galaxy is 780 kiloparsecs. So that's another sort of a reference and relative number for you there, Kimmy. The Andromeda Galaxy is 780 kiloparsecs away. Most of the other galaxies are going to be megaparsecs away, so a lot more farther away. As you will see, I'll show you some examples. So Andromeda is quite close, but it's not as close as Hubble thought. Hubble thought Andromeda is within 275 kiloparsecs when it's actually something like 780 kiloparsecs. So they were looking for certain specific objects and stuff. That's how they know. Fikret Toprak. Hello, Fikret. So Hubble's fundamental mistake was that he compared two different types of variable stars. The Cepheids he observed. So Cepheids is something we haven't really covered too much on the channel. I will later on, but just listen to the story for now and we can dig deeper later on. The Cepheids he observed in the Andromeda Galaxy were luminous blue population 1 stars. So population 1 stars are more metal rich. And the mistake he made was he compared them with variable stars in our galaxy that were population 2 objects. So population 2 objects are more metal poor and they're present in our galactic bulge. And these population 2 variable stars are called W Virginis stars after their prototype, and they're only 1/4 as luminous as a Cepheid star with the same pulsation period. So basically, it messed up his luminosity calculations, and that might have made things seem closer because everything is ultimately, remember, understanding how far a star is, there are a few different methods. We talked about one of them, stellar parallax. It's not a trivial topic or work to measure the distance to another star. So when he's looking for certain objects in that galaxy, if it's a nebula, it's not going to have a bunch of stars and other things that would make something a galaxy. But then again, once you are starting to see the stars, you would have to then understand what distance everything is from you, and the luminosity you're observing plays a big role. But then again, the luminosity is something that you're probably getting based on a comparison with something else, and the comparison could be a little bit off if you're not comparing apples to apples, if you will. So something like that was a little bit off with his calculation. So thus, by applying the W Virginis period luminosity relation to the intrinsically more luminous Cepheid stars, Hubble was underestimating the distance to the Andromeda Galaxy by a factor of 2. What is happening today? Has anyone ever told you, you mean like temperature hot? We should talk about the temperatures of all the planets again. If you're going to talk about hotness, I want somebody, we covered this already. What is the temperature of Venus? Somebody's put it in the chat. Totally agree. You guys weren't so nice before. What happened today? Are you all drinking and feeling happy or something? You were here, Doro. Or maybe you missed that. I don't know. Maybe you missed some of it. Let them be. I don't know what happened. Now they're commenting. Now they're saying I'm beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, universe, for the genetics. It's biology beyond my control. All I can control is learning physics, astronomy, and cosmology. So that was to give you some idea about... I have to blow my nose. 1 second, please. Excuse me. I don't know why my nose is running suddenly. I was talking to a friend earlier who got into some trouble. It made me a little... compliment her away, but no. But Donald Trump won't let me. What do you mean? What did Trump say? Oh my God. So, I don't obey the laws. How is... Okay, can we get 20 likes? So I was speaking to a friend and they were in a little bit of trouble. But it's all good, I think. So maybe that made me a little emotional. Donald Trump is sending ice to your... Ice? Ice? I'm only here for... Okay, since I asked the question, what was the temperature on Venus, and nobody could answer, it's actually 700 something Kelvin. I forget exactly as well, but it is 700 something Kelvin, which is quite a bit hotter than here on Earth. And remember, my favorite fact about Venus is that it's too hot to have liquid water, which is why it has so much carbon dioxide in its atmosphere, because if it can't have liquid water, be absorbing the carbon dioxide and converting it into limestone. That's what we did here on Earth to kind of make our atmosphere more breathable and bring in plant life, which then further made the atmosphere better for us animals. And that's what you guys are, all animals. It's something like 780 maybe Kelvin, but it's definitely very hot on Venus. And all of the greenhouse gases, of course, keep it very hot. if it had liquid water, it's too hot to have liquid water on that planet, even though it is so similar to Earth in other respects. It is a very similar mass to Earth, very similar size to Earth, but it is closer to the sun, and it is in that particular, we're in that sweet spot where we can have liquid water. We have oceans of it, and we captured carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. We absorbed it into water and converted it into bicarbonates, which then react with calcium to make limestone. So making limestone, the nice thing is that you're literally taking carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, converting it into basically rock, and then sedimenting, adding the rock to the rocks on the earth, and basically letting it settle to the bottom, so it no longer stays in the atmosphere. So I'm a big fan of this whole process. We did this on Earth because we have liquid water, and that's how we cleaned up our atmosphere. And then we got plants, and then plants further cleaned up the atmosphere by converting carbon dioxide to oxygen. So we have a great atmosphere to thank the universe to thank this planet for, whereas Venus stays hot because it has the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and not the oceans to absorb it. I will marry an immigrant woman and get her to renounce her heritage. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, so I don't know why no one's on the live suddenly, but please do join. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the live. Like the live, get us to 20 likes. Thank you so much. And we will continue to continue. They're all drinking today, Doro. I don't know what happened, but everybody's drinking. Where's my iPad so I can share it? I never shared the live yet. But we will talk about, so let me say real quick that within the galaxy classification, we already talked about spiral galaxies and elliptical galaxies. I'm just going to trust that you're going to find the right video from earlier today to understand about elliptical and spiral galaxies, because that's already been covered. And we will just move straight into irregular galaxies, okay? Because this chat is just crazy, and we will keep on keeping on. Thank you so much. I will get my iPad so I can share the live. My face is symmetrical. Oh my gosh. Paid to have you marry me. Okay, good to know. You know what you should do is donate to the channel at my PayPal link in the bio, so I can buy McDonald's with it. Hi, Grimmy. See what's happening here? Were you the symmetrical commenter? Is this you who started that? I will blame you freely. Is that... Okay. Is that what's happening right now? Is the live not getting pushed out? I didn't mention marrying an immigrant woman so she could renounce her heritage. Is it funny? Is it tickling your funny bones? Is it funny? I don't know. Okay. We will now talk about irregular galaxies after the irregularities that are in this chat. I'm sharing the live on my channel and hoping that Ben joins. I don't know. Ben, are you here? You're much needed. Ben, Steven, where are my good guys who are listening to the science stuff? Where are you? And where's my new kid? Mega Ghost. Here, can I tag Ben? Can I find him? Whatever. So, what's new with that? Get over it. A dude is literally saying he'd buy you. Yes. And old news. Mad Hatter. Hello. See, a science person is here. Hello, Mad Hatter. You were just in time for irregular galaxies. That's what we're gonna cover right now, starting right now. You wanted the gooning? I wanted it? How? Old news, people. Old news. Old news. Happy to see her beautiful face. Old news. Irregular galaxies are the last of Hubble's main classes. Okay? So Hubble, because he made so many observations, yes, that's okay. What's your background? My background is in physics with a subfield of particle astrophysics. So right now we're just discussing astronomy. When I'm done, sorry, burping. I went to the Ohio State University for my grad school and NC State for undergrad. Don't listen to these people. So, my bachelor's degree is from NC State University, and my master's and PhD are from Ohio State University. So, right now, we are simply discussing the galaxies. Thank you. Thank you. Irregular galaxies are the last classification that we're currently covering. We already talked about spiral galaxies and elliptical shaped galaxies. So because Hubble started to do a lot of observations of these various galaxies and even told us that there are actually a lot of galaxies out there that we didn't even know about, and kind of opened our eyes quite literally to these other systems, right? Can't even call them worlds, right? Because worlds are like planets, other planets, maybe the moons of some of our planets. But galaxies are like entire star systems, gas, clouds, dust, all of this stuff would make up a galaxy. Seems like your chat is discussing you. Had too much to drink, but I'm here because I love you. Thank you. Well, I hope that they learned something about galaxies today. So irregular galaxies is what we will cover. So these are quite amorphous. They lack any sort of really regular shape. So the spiral galaxies, of course, are spiral. They have those very distinct spiral arms. And some of these spiral arms are actually hotbeds of star formation. They can have some younger stars, they can have some very luminous spots, etc. And the spiral galaxies, of course, also have the disk, the bulge, things like that that we talked about. Elliptical galaxies are, as the name suggests, the shape is an ellipse, basically like an elliptical, and depending on the ellipticity of that elliptical galaxy, we can give a further classification. But now we're considering irregular galaxies. In a moment, I will show you some pictures of this. Ben! Thank God you're here. She's using us as a mock classroom. Yes, a classroom would be just as crazy, if not crazier. Disco David, I haven't seen you in a while. What happened to you? Are you trolling? Are you just copying the others? I thought Disco liked science, or am I just misremembering that? Ben is, of course, a very good guy. He always checks in and sits quietly. He's the best student in this whole lot. After Steven. Steven is number one. He listens to everything, remembers everything, answers questions. This is a mock classroom. Disco David, who are you? Side note. Oh my God. So irregular galaxies are rich in gas and dust and have copious star formation. So remember, if you have a ton of gas and dust, well, if you have a ton of nebula, gas clouds, nebula, metal rich, maybe even, remember, we come from such a nebula. Sometimes these nebulae, plural, or gas, big gas cloud can be a hotbed of star formation. If there is, if it was kind of hot gas before and eventually cools down, sort of. Remember, that's basically how our sun formed. And remember the fun fact that the sun has around 99.8% of the mass of the gas cloud that we all come from, and the rest of the mass went into the planets, but the sun only had less than 5% of the angular momentum. So whatever angular momentum was in that gas cloud came to us, the planets, most of it. And so, these gas clouds are very important. When you see irregular galaxies with a bunch of gas clouds, you can also look out for star formation. Can we get 20 likes, please? A nearby example of an irregular galaxy is the small Magellanic Cloud. I had to look down to see where all the A's and E's are. I forget how to say this sometimes, but Magellanic Cloud. Hi, Fuji. Ha, Baba. Thank you. Please like the live. So you might have heard of the Large Magellanic Cloud. Actually, the Large Magellanic Cloud is at a distance of 55 kiloparsecs. And the Small Magellanic Cloud is at a distance of 65 kiloparsecs. So these are, the Small Magellanic Cloud is an example of an irregular galaxy. And let's hear about it. So the Small Magellanic Cloud looks like an egg-shaped smear of stars punctuated with emission nebulae. So emission nebulae, wow, sounds like something like hot and happening, basically, is the Small Magellanic Cloud. And it offers a comparison of the large and small Magellanic Clouds right here, this picture. So this is what we're talking about. This is the Large Magellanic Cloud, and this is the Small Magellanic Clouds. And depending on if you can see this during a dark and very clear night sky, you might even be able to see these things maybe with your naked eye. Yes, the nebula is hot and happening. Although Hubble's classification scheme is useful, it has some restrictions. First of all, due to the technical limitations of Hubble's day, It applies only to luminous galaxies with high surface brightness. The lowest luminosity galaxies are called dwarf galaxies. These dwarfs tend to be low in surface brightness as well as low in total luminosity. That is, the stars they contain are spread over a relatively wide area across the sky. And dwarf galaxies can actually be kind of hard to detect because if you have, the lower total luminosity, remember, we're using luminosity as a way to detect stars and tell where they are, how far, and all that stuff. So that's why it's important to even know if something is there or not. If it's not luminous, that would be really difficult. Her skin is perfect. We're all partying tonight. Yes, where is Steven? Steve, I feel like, was he here this afternoon? She's a perfect nebula. We do all come from a nebula, so you're a nebula too. We all come from a nebula, guys. It's okay. It's okay. Irregular galaxies are too chaotic for me. Glory to God. Hello, Fernando. Makes me wonder how intergalactic travel could be if everything is shaped to our solar system. I wonder what other structures the other galaxies contain. So we talked about some of the components of the spiral galaxy, the disk, the bulge, and the halo. One thing I will say about spiral versus elliptical galaxy in terms of your structure question is that spiral galaxies have a prominent dust lane. You will see, I'll show you some pictures soon here, but elliptical galaxies don't. They are just this bright elliptical shaped thing. It can be closer to a circle or a different ellipticity, but it does not have that prominent dust lane. And we can talk about it real quick. So they're smooth, glowing, they're smooth, glowing elliptical blobs with no dark dust lanes, no spiral arms, and no bright patches of star formation. So they're kind of different. And the irregular galaxies are what we're talking about right now, with no big specific shape. And dwarf galaxies might be something to consider as well. Can you please like the live? I'm getting my notepad. I apologize. I'm listening. Okay. Are you guys all planning this? What is happening? How do we even know? Circumstantial? What do you mean? We make observations with telescopes. How do we even know anything about the other galaxies? We observe them with telescopes. We image them. Do you even understand English? Of course we take observations. What do you mean? I've been showing you images. We can't image the Milky Way galaxy because we're in it. We can't take an image of the Milky Way galaxy because we're in it. We can't take an edge-on or a face-on image of the Milky Way galaxy, but we can for other Now I have to go back and find the picture. I'm sorry. Here, I'll show you. God, where the frick is it? You've had a life? Oh, good God. Since when are you allowed to do that? Oh, that's right. I showed these pictures Kind of late. That's right. I think you were gone. That's right. You were gone, and you had to. I think you had to leave because you had work. I forgot. Okay. Okay. This is an image of NGC 891, a galaxy that is similar to ours, a spiral galaxy similar to ours, and it's an image that we took with the large binocular telescope. And then below that, oh, and the galaxy here is NGC 891, which is a spiral galaxy. And then below that, we have a spiral galaxy, again, another example. This one, we have a face-on image of it. So depending on which galaxy you have found, it could be that the orientation is such that you can only get it edge-on, or it could be that it's only face-on. But this is at 4.5 megaparsecs away. So of course, these are quite a bit farther away from, say, Andromeda. But Andromeda is really close, and we're going to eat it. So it's fine. These are not too far. So you can take a look. See? We can take images like this. We're really good at taking images. And we can also look at other wavelengths of light. So it's not even that we would have to do visible light only. Or we can take a picture with a different wavelength of light and then convert that picture to the other colors so that we can still see the colors in a different wavelength. How do we not know what planets these other galaxies contain? Mainly, right, so that's a great question. As you can see, what we're capturing with these images, and in general with observation, most of the time, is luminosities, literally brightnesses of stars. So stars are actually easier by a lot than planets to observe. So for example, we know the overall total luminosity of our galaxy, and then we estimated how many stars from that. But we still, it's not like we have found, that also tells us about the planets, because planets are dim. Planets are not huge, bright sources. So because planets are very dim, they're not huge bright sources, and they're smaller, right, generally than the stars. Oh, good job, Fuji. That's why they're very much harder to detect. So we might be able to take images of other galaxies. We might be able to estimate how much luminosity in our own galaxy. James, can you like the live? Since you've entertained people, can you also like the live? We can do all these different things, and that mainly tells us about luminosity, which mainly tells us about the stars. I know you might think that that automatically tells us something about planets, but that's really hard. We still have to do those other specific methods we mentioned to look at specific planets around specific stars. I'm just wondering how this could all be used to expand out greater understanding of what's out there. Oh yes, absolutely. That's a great thing to wonder. All this studying does little if it doesn't help us advance further. That's a great comment. To be completely fair, astronomy is not trying to be immediately useful and immediately applied. It's not necessarily an applied science, actually. So yeah, astronomy is for the privileged, lucky, loving enough to do it. Astronomy is not like an engineering topic where you have to apply it tomorrow and you lose your job if you can't apply your knowledge. Astronomy is not like that. Doro, open your mind. Open your mind to the night sky and fall in love. Stop being intelligent. You know, intelligence is something that I think people should use more, because then it fires neurons and stuff in the brain, and then those neurons form new connections, and those connections are very important for our overall health. Okay. Ooh, so I wanted to talk to you about something else. I'm wondering if I should do that now. Open my mind to the night sky. Yes! Have you been to like a really dark spot and looked at the night sky? That could be life-changing. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so let me finish up the irregular galaxies. Let me see a few more things and just wrap it up. Where was I? I had to show you those images. Reese, go up and look at what's been happening today. It's just completely out of this world. It's just completely out of this world. Oh my God, do you think? I had to think about something. Okay. Let's see. Do I want to cover this part? Kind of want to do it. Kind of want to... It's okay. My beautiful, brilliant scientist. Oh, thank you. Reese in the house. Okay, so... So you were asking about the distances to the galaxies, right? There is... Looks like the standard mental chat. Can you please like the live? Thank you. 20 likes, please. Thank ya. I spoke a little bit about the irregular galaxies. Some dwarf galaxies, keep in mind, also contain a lot of gas and dust. And so they're also called dwarf irregulars. I'll show you one in a moment, and you will see how shapeless it is. It's like literally doesn't look like anything. Just as inconspicuous M dwarfs are the most common type of star, inconspicuous dwarf galaxies are the most common type of galaxy. So did you know, we earlier spoke about how our solar system seems to be kind of special. We haven't really found other star systems quite like ours. Our Earth is kind of special. We haven't really found planets or exoplanets rather that are more like our Earth. Pretty much other than Venus. I think the Venus is the closest sort of partner to the Earth, actually. Same thing with our galaxy. The spiral galaxy is actually not the most common type of galaxy, the type of galaxy we're in. So these dwarf galaxies are actually the most common, and an estimated 90% of the galaxies in our immediate neighborhood are actually these dwarf galaxies. So the galaxies we're talking about being the dwarf galaxies or the shapeless galaxies are different galaxies, the irregular galaxies. So I think something to think about is also the distances. So irregular, when we're looking at a galaxy as a whole, we're looking at a very large scale. We're looking at a whole galaxy. The solar system is a very tiny part of our own galaxy, and also the solar system our solar system is in our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, which is a spiral. So we actually are done looking at spiral galaxies for the moment. We're looking at irregular galaxies now. So by irregular, we just mean that the distribution of stuff that we're seeing looks like there's no big shape to it. But that doesn't mean that it cannot host interesting things. Again, our solar system, as we know it, we haven't found another solar system like ours. There are other stars and other star systems, and what? And planets and things, and we talked about the exoplanets and how we keep finding hot Jupiter-like and hot Neptune-like exoplanets. But okay. Some galaxies don't fit into Hubble's classification scheme because they're just plain weird, according to the authors. The galaxy Centaurus A has been called a pathological object. So by the way, let me show you what an irregular galaxy looks like. It looks like that. It basically just looks like nothing. Quite seriously like nothing. I don't think I wanted the gooning. Can we get 20 likes, please? Welcome to the live. Could we get 20 likes? Thank you. So, this Centaurus A pathological object, according to the astronomers, is it's been called, it sort of resembles an elliptical galaxy, but it has a prominent dust lane slashing across its middle. Oh my gosh. I just looked at a picture. I don't know if that's the one though. I don't think this is the Centaurus A. There might not be a picture, but there is Centaurus A has the dust lane which most elliptical galaxies do not. So remember, there was a difference between elliptical galaxies and spiral galaxies. One of those differences were that the spiral galaxies have a prominent dust lane going through it and elliptical galaxies do not. They're more smooth, just like a bright blob, which is in an ellipse shape. And depending on the ellipticity of the thing, we can give it a further classification. So we kind of said that the dust lane thing was more of a spiral galaxy thing. Now we have an irregular galaxy, Centaurus A, which is called a pathological object because literally it looks like nothing, but apparently it does have a dust lane. So we'll look at that. We'll read about that. So Centaurus A is also something that ordinarily ellipticals don't have is the dust lane. Plus, it is also a strong radio source. Its name indicates that it is the brightest radio source in the constellation Centaurus. So if you're a constellation fanatic, some people really like the constellations. I kind of want to learn more constellations myself. If you're aware or familiar with the Centaurus constellation, we're talking about that right now. So there's a bright radio source in the constellation Centaurus. It's probable that Centaurus A has recently cannibalized a dust-rich companion galaxy. So this is so interesting. Usually this type of galaxy we would not consider to have a dust lane, but maybe it has cannibalized or eaten a companion galaxy. The galaxy, we'll show you just now. The galaxy NGC 7252 has been called a train wreck. A train wreck. So that's literally the name that's given to this. So although NGC 7252 bears a single catalog number in the new general catalog, so they keep a catalog of the galaxies, it is actually a pair of galaxies that have not yet finished the process of merging together. So these two galaxies, Centaurus A and NGC 7252, have not fully finished their merging, but they have merged. And pretty much Centaurus A has cannibalized this companion galaxy, just like we will cannibalize Andromeda at some point. So it happens. The long tails extending away from, I think we will talk about galaxies eating other galaxies in a little bit here. It doesn't have to be so dramatic. Can we get 20 likes? But we will look at it. The long tails extending away from the train wreck have been stretched out by tidal forces. Roughly 0.5% of nearby bright galaxies are estimated to be members of merging pairs. Ooh, did you hear that? Roughly 0.5%. So not a lot, but 0.5% of nearby bright galaxies are estimated to be members of merging pairs. So galaxies do merge because, of course, you know, a bigger thing can eat a smaller thing. And yes, and then you have this type of cannibalized galaxy. So sometimes when you see a galaxy having a weird shape, like some dust lane or some weird brightness here or there that doesn't make any sense, it could be a cannibalized galaxy. Two galaxies who are kind of merging and are still merging and have not finished their merge completely. So the cannibalizing of galaxy and train wreck are literally the words used to describe a certain irregular galaxy. I will show you right now. This galaxy right here, see how its shape is kind of just weird? We don't really have a way to quite classify that, because basically we classify galaxies based on their shape so far. According to Hubble, I'm not properly awake. Yeah, it is really early in your part of Belgium. Thank you for 20 likes. Yay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The dust lane is made of literally dust, and it absorbs some of the brightness, so it appears to be dark. So dust lane is common in spiral galaxies, just a bunch of dust that might go through the middle, or, you know, not the middle, it's the middle as when you view it edge on. So foreign, apparently. Yeah, Doro, you need to try that. So Doro asks, can our galaxy's shape change? Let's talk about when our galaxy is gonna eat Andromeda. So let's see what that will do. This is actually good. We just talked about an irregular galaxy which has come about because Centaurus A has merged with NGC 7252, and we just saw the shape of that. Let's think about our own galaxy's future. I was going to say potential possible merge, but it's pretty much going to happen. So we can talk about that. Why are we talking about cannibals? Oh yeah, that was in relation to the galaxy shape and everything. I'm very freaky little things, flexible. Okay, I'm not properly. The skin. Maybe you guys talking about the skin tone could get me like a skincare sponsor. I don't really like buying things, so when the sponsors send me stuff, it's kind of like shopping for me. Because I don't really like going shopping. It's a very uninteresting thing to do. What is even happening? It's just love bombing. I think they're trolling. I think they all know each other and somehow saying the same thing. Or just copying each other's sentences. Drooling, gooning, drooning. I want my world. Okay, so speaking of these merges, we can have a happy life. Oh my gosh. But why would someone with great. Crazy Sick One just loves to say all the facts about me to the entire public. Thank you for liking. Thank you. If you know everything about me, why haven't you sent me some freaking wine, man? Can we get 30 likes? At this point, I just need the wine to be delivered. I don't really need a lot of back and forth, you know? And I'm older than you. Grandma. I'm going old school. Yeah. He used to talk science before James happened. James Woodlife. Hello, James, and goodbye, James. So, I mean, skincare products because, I don't know, maybe I want like a scrub or something. It is true that I'm not interested in like a lot of skincare products, but I think I kind of want some face wash. I don't know. It's nice. I just put it on in the shower. Just do some face washing, you know? I will continue to speak more about science. You can enjoy whatever you want, man, young brother. Great, great. All of the successful people are younger than me. Amazing. Since you're my elder, I'm your elder now? Good, good. Listen to your elders. So, let's talk about the Milky Way eating Andromeda. Ragamuffin? What does that mean? Great. Are you guys like young or something? I mean, the stuff that you say. You look younger than us. A young Padawan. A Padawan? Can we get 30 likes? Late 20s to early 30s. That's a brother, a young brother. Young brother. Okay, brother Doro, listen to our merger. As in the Galaxies merger. So, where is it? I found it. I found it here. I found it at one point and then I lost it. What time is it? What time is it here? Grimmy, I knew I should have banned you. You're too young. You're too young. Your brain's not developed yet. I should have known. I should have known Only someone fresh into their 30s would describe themselves as late 20s, early 30s. Oh my god. Okay, now we're gonna talk about when galaxies collide. If the universe is a loaf of raisin bread, that's a weird sentence, then the raisins are not uniformly distributed through the loaf. It's all downhill. I think it's uphill. I like it. I don't miss being in my 20s, man. That was awful. Everything got better after my PhD. I will say that. And I didn't have my PhD until I was 27, so... I don't really miss being 20s. Lot more wise. Lot more wisdom. Doro, my young brother, you should make money, save money, make money, make money. So, speaking less metaphorically, galaxies are not uniformly distributed through space. Oh, gosh. You'd complete me? Complete me. Okay. So, the universe shows a hierarchical structure. That is, it contains structure on a very wide range of length scales. I do believe that Doro kind of asked about this, so we will get into it. It sucks. I'd love to marry a doctor. Yeah, that's okay. So, the universe shows a hierarchical structure. And I was talking about the length scales before. And let's look at some of these. So stars. Stars are typically a diameter of 10 to the 6 kilometers, are found largely in gravitationally bound objects called galaxies, containing 10 to the 6 to 10 to the 12 stars, plus gas, dust, and dark matter. So that's what stars are. Then we have galaxies, typical diameter is around 10 kiloparsecs, and are found largely in gravitationally bound objects called groups or clusters containing 10 to 10 to the 4 galaxies plus gas and dark matter. So galaxies can be part of groups or clusters. And then groups and clusters are things with typical diameter of around a megaparsec and are found largely in currently collapsing objects called superclusters. Superclusters have a maximum length of around 100 megaparsecs and are among the largest structures in the universe. So speaking of structure, there you go. We listed some off in a hierarchical manner because we see a hierarchical structure. So groups and clusters are both gravitationally bound aggregations of galaxies. It is, yeah. Differing only in the number of galaxies that they contain. Groups contain fewer galaxies than clusters. Typically, collections of fewer than 50 galaxies are called groups. but the boundary between a large group and a small cluster is not sharply defined. To start at home, our own galaxy is part of a group called the local group. So the nice thing about these questions and what we wonder in astronomy is that there's always more to learn. We can learn more. See, by being here on the live stream, and we will keep on learning. There's not every information is distributed in the same episode, right? So this local group is something that we're mentioning for the first time, not last time. For the first time, we're mentioning this group of clusters, group of galaxies rather, and it's called the local group. And that's where we belong. Our galaxy belongs to a group of galaxies called the local group. Sharply defined? Well, we kind of define them on the scale basis, if you remember. So stars have a typical diameter, so it's sort of a length scale basis of definition. So a star typically has a diameter of 10 to the 6 kilometers. So the D associated with a star is like 10 to the 6 kilometers. And they are found largely in gravitationally bound objects called galaxies, which contain around 10 to the 6 to 10 to the 12, 10 to the 12 stars. But like length and scales, as in, yes, exactly. So 10 to the 6 kilometers-ish, order of magnitude is basically stars. Galaxies are typical diameter of 10 kiloparsecs. Ours is a bit bigger than that, but 10 kiloparsecs, that's your diameter for a galaxy. Groups and clusters, order of magnitude 1 megaparsec. That's more the diameter of a group and cluster. And we're in the solar system, which is in our galaxy, which is in a local group. So it's in a group which is called the local group. Not a very creative name, but we will learn about that. So the local group contains at least 40 galaxies. So tons of galaxies even in that local group. And yeah, we said a galaxy diameter is around 10 kiloparsecs. Again, it's order of magnitude. It might be 20, it might be 30, but order of magnitude, okay? Yeah, basically because yeah, that's fine. Basically, because stars will contribute to the luminosity, we're probably considering stars to be. I mean, they are an important part of galaxies, right? So we basically mentioned the length and scale associated with the star, length and scale associated with the galaxy, and length and scale associated with the with the group or cluster, and our group is called local group. So the exact number of galaxies in the local group is not known, but we know there's probably at least 40. And many of these galaxies, why it's hard to know is many of the galaxies are inconspicuous, dwarf spheroidal and dwarf irregular galaxies. So they're dwarfs, they're smaller, they're irregular, and they're spheroidal. So not as much of a distinct shape like a spiral or an elliptical. And so like most small clusters, the local group is irregularly shaped. Most of the galaxies clump around our own galaxy. And M31, which I showed you in just a little bit ago, also known as the Andromeda Galaxy, surprise, our own galaxy and M31 contain most of the mass and luminosity in the local group. So we are pretty special in the sense that us and Andromeda actually contribute to most of the luminosity in the most of the mass as well as luminosity in the local group. Third and fourth place go to M33 an SC galaxy, and large Magellanic Cloud. So we talked about the small Magellanic Cloud. It was an irregular galaxy. Then we also have large Magellanic Cloud. James, can you please like the live before you go? And congratulations on the cafe. Most of the remaining galaxies are low luminosity, low surface brightness, fluff muffins. Thank you, James. Have a great day. The nearest cloud. I can't believe what was that? So local group has at least 40 galaxies. A lot of them are dwarfs, inconspicuous, irregulars, and whatnot. We have Andromeda, of course, also known as M31. And our own galaxy, as well as M31, basically contain most of the mass and luminosity of this local group or cluster of galaxies. And third and fourth place go to M33 and the Large Magellanic Cloud. We looked at the Large and Small Magellanic Cloud in just a little bit ago, and we saw that they were not exactly very shapeful. They kind of lacked a shape. Thank you for liking the live. Can we get 30 likes? Can we get 30 likes? So most of the remaining galaxies are low luminosity, low surface brightness, fluff muffins. The nearest cluster to the local group is the Virgo cluster. The distance, thank you for liking the live. Can we get 30 likes? Like the live. The nearest cluster to the local group is the Virgo cluster. So if you were wondering, as a cluster, do we have a friend cluster? We do. It's called the Virgo cluster. If you're a Virgo, put it in the chat. I'm a Virgo. Do it. The distance to the center of the Virgo cluster is D equal to 16 megaparsec. Aw. Well, you can still put your sun sign in the chat. You can still share that if you'd like. Thank you. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for Annie Frank. Can you like the live, please? Mac, Batman. Oh my gosh, Batman is here too. Batman, can you please like the live? And don't call anyone chubby. You were kind of weird today at the afternoon live, being rude to my younger friends. So the nearest cluster to the local group is the Virgo cluster. The distance to the center of the Virgo cluster is 16 megaparsecs. Found using Cepheid stars as standard candles. The diameter of the Virgo cluster is around 2 megaparsecs. The caveat should be added that the Virgo cluster is not particularly close to being spherical, since the Virgo cluster is both large and nearby. As clusters go, it subtends a large angle against the sky. It sprawls over a region of around 7 degrees across, covering much of the constellation Virgo and stretching into Coma Berenices. The 4 brightest galaxies in the Virgo cluster, M49, M60, M86, and M87, if you've heard of those galaxies, those are the brightest galaxies in the Virgo cluster, which is our neighboring cluster, are all giant elliptical galaxies. So we talked about the classification of galaxies. Elliptical was one of them, and this is where you see those. Swollen to a large size by cannibalizing smaller galaxies. So all of these galaxies have kind of merged with other companion galaxies and gotten bigger. These four giant ellipticals each have an apparent magnitude of around 9 magnitudes. So even in a nearby cluster, like Virgo, distance has rendered highly luminous galaxies invisible to the naked eye. There are several other Virgo-sized clusters within around 60 megaparsecs, as well as numerous smaller groups. The nearest rich cluster of galaxies is the Coma cluster, so called because it is in the constellation Coma Berenices, slightly north of the Virgo cluster. A snapshot of the Coma cluster shows only the most luminous galaxies in the cluster, the two brightest galaxies in the cluster, NGC 4889 and NGC 4874 have an apparent magnitude of 13. So that's quite a bit. We will finish off with some images of these things, but we will continue now so that we can talk about galaxy. Oh yeah, okay. I have some cool pictures to show you when we wrap this up at the end of the night. Thank you for coming to the live. We will continue with galaxy mergers today. Can we get 30 likes? Can we get 30 likes? So you'll look at some pictures in a little bit, but now let's talk about when galaxies collide. Are we ready for that? Who is Harley Quinn? I don't think I know that. Who is Harley Quinn? Somebody tell me. Sounds like sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is. I've been enjoying the streams 100% because of your face. Who is Harley Quinn? If you want to go look at my Instagram, it has mainly ocean pictures, but yeah, you could do that. OINDREEBEE, Instagram, go ahead. It mainly has pictures of the ocean though. But I think you should follow, and I'm trying to monetize my Facebook and Instagram as well. Probably not a good idea. Thank you for liking the live. Can we get 30 likes?